Are you there, Paul?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
You tell me when to go, Matt.
Yep, you are good to go at any time.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Becca, for that precursor to my talk. I'm going to be talking about the hybrid rye variety portfolio for KWS. A little background on myself. I've worked with cereal crops for about 30 years now in the cooperative system, in the private system, and I've been an agronomist, a researcher, and a product manager. I currently live in Minnesota. I'm in the outskirts of the Minneapolis-St. Paul Metro in Ramsey, so I'm close to those of you that are in southern Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. So I will be your contact. I was hired by KWS about a month ago, so I'm a newbie to KWS. I'm the hybrid rye manager for US now, and my major role is to assist our sales associates and growers for training, advice on product selection, placement, and management practices. So my other roles will also include research trials, new variety selection, and some developing of markets. And that's something we've been working hard on to develop this rye market. So especially for hybrids. So as we get started, I wanted to everyone to notice we've always had this Pollen Plus emblem on a lot of our slides, and you probably might have seen it. If some of you haven't, Pollen Plus is a technology to basically to decrease ergot. It's a specific technology to KWS. It's our own gene that we've developed. So if you notice that picture, you can see all the pollen in that bag to the right. This product, or these products, these hybrid ryes produce a lot of pollen during a short period of flowering. Since rye basically flowers very uniformly in short period of time, not like the open pollinated varieties. We have a lot of pollen shed, which doesn't allow the ergot to get into the head parts. So we significantly reduce the amount of ergot in the product. So hybrid rye is very, very, very good for that. So when you see that Pollen Plus, that's what that emblem is, and it's proprietary to KWS. So we're excited about that. What I want to cover too is the varieties. We'll be selling 3 varieties this coming year in 21. KWS Bono has been around for a while. It's been very consistent in performance. It's very drought tolerant, and it's had some very strong yields. So that's been our center stage piece for a few years. So also rye has that great root development, very deep, very wide roots. So sometimes you can see a small plant on top, but you'll see a lot more root underneath there, collecting water, collecting nutrients. So very good rye with a hybrid rye, very good for that root development. So Bono is one of our varieties you will probably be seeing if you're going to Albert Lea Seeds or whoever you purchasing from. That's a variety you'll see for sale this year. If you look at the adaptation of that area, I thought I'd give you more of a U.S. perspective. You can see where Bono fits, basically in that Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa area. That's an excellent spot for them. It also does well out in the high plains areas. So that's gives you a kind of a picture of how adaptable hybrid rye is. Our next variety is Serafino. And again, it's Pollen Plus. This is a very versatile hybrid. It's going to replace Bono in the future. It's got a lot of broader adaptability than Bono does. And it's got great fusarium resistance, better straw stiffness, and it's got excellent leaf rust. Generally in rye, a lot of fungicide is not used on rye because of its great resistance to a disease. But if there is areas based on weather and some things that are going on in your rotations, you might have to look at maybe some applications of fungicide, but generally rye does not get an application, but this is a very good product for disease resistance. And it also is yielding much better than Bono. So Bono will be going out of our program, and Serafino will be replacing it, and it's an excellent choice for yield and just the basic resistance and straw strength. So that's Serafino. If you look at its adaptability, it's widely adapted in the US. So this variety goes a lot of places in the US. It's again, different soil types. It's probably fits on all soil types. So a very good variety coming into our portfolio. We're very happy to see this in our portfolio. And that's another one you'll be looking for at the distributors. So our new one is Teo for 21. And you'll notice we have the rye evolution. If you look on KWS site, that'll give you some information on the importance and how we're promoting our rye in the US for this year. So there's a site there that you can look up. Probably I'll have to put that on the chat portion because it's hard to write down all those letters and slashes and everything. So, and if we look at rye, the hybrid rye vigor, if you look at that little note in here, I mean, the yield has benefited about 45% over the early 80s. So you've seen rye, you can see the strides that KWS has made in making rye just a tremendous yielder, especially with the hybrid traits. So it's awesome. We see Teo as one of our #1 harvest index numbers, which means you have more spikelets per head. So you're going to have more kernels per head with this Teo in your operation. So that basically will give its yield. So it's actually yielding slightly even better than Serafino right now. So that's why it's in the lineup. And you'll see that for this year. Plenty of seed available. So that's not an issue with this new one right now. So it's the new generation for us. One thing with this one you'd want to know is that it probably performs best under high management, better soils, higher yield potential areas. This is not something that doesn't respond to stress as well. Not bad, but it's a better performer in high management. So if you're looking for a variety to put where you're putting, let's say you have the manure, you have the fertility and the things, so you're looking for big yields, this is one that will respond to those things. So that's Teo. It's not adaptability. Again, like I told you, it's not as widely adapted just because of those reasons. It doesn't like the stresses, maybe of some soils, some years. So you want to keep that on some of your better ground. And if you're want to manage that for higher yields, this is be the variety that you want to get those big yields. So that's Teo. Now I wanted to show you some comparisons between those. What I do as a researcher in the past is I like to show head-to-head comparisons. So this is 2019 and 2020 head-to-head. Head-to-head means in 7 locations, these 4 varieties, I did a Hazlitt check. Those varieties were head-to-head. They were in the same trials the same year. If I don't like to just grab averages across locations because that doesn't give you, the grower, or even our sales associates, the big picture. The picture is when they're head-to-head, that means I can do a great comparison. So this data showing you right here is 7 locations in 2019 and 20 in Minnesota, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. So you look at the progression of yield. Hazlitt is a one from Secan in Canada. That's generally been the highest OP variety that we compete against. So that's why that one's in there. I took one of the higher yielding ones there. And then I compared Bono, Serafino, and Teo. And you can see from why we're going forward with Serafino and Teo. It's outperforming Bono, and it's a tremendous amount of yield. So you're looking at, in some cases, in these close to 120 bushels. So if you look at that comparison, the yield potential on hybrid rye is 30 to 60% more than OP varieties. So that's the reason why we want you to put, if you look at some of the information that Becca gave you on the cost of production and just the amount of bushels, it is a viable option now with rye yielding that much. This hybrid rye, we've seen potential. I've seen some trials we've had, and it's done up to 160 bushels in comparison. So it can yield. It likes to get the management, the correct management stuff. So we will see good yields there. So here's some data. I'm still accumulating a whole bunch more. We're putting a lot of our materials into trials, so we'll have more information again next year going forward. So we continue to do that. We have some hybrids for forage and grazing. You'll see we have a product called ProGrass, and that's our #1 variety for early heading cutting. So high tonnage, quality, and digestibility. Again, timing is the key. You'll see some studies. We're trying to do a head-to-head study, which actually compares heading times at the correct times. You've probably seen maybe some studies that are done and people are cutting their OP rye the same time as they're cutting their hybrid rye. That's not a good comparison of really the potential of hybrid rye. You need to cut hybrid rye when it's ready. High tonnage, quality, and digestibility. ProGrass, #1, early heading. ProPower, our next one, that one is better for a little late. It's a little later variety, so it'll be cut later, but you can also cut this one towards milk stage. You can still get tonnage and still get quality, but you want milk stage before the leaves.
Apologize, folks. It looks like we lost Paul's audio. Paul, are you still there?
Are you there?
Yep, we got you now.
Now back. Where did you lose me at, Matt?
You were talking about ProPower.
Okay, good. All right, ProPower, I explained that one. So ProBlend is actually a 50-50 of ProGrass and ProPower. The blend gives you reduce and risk, so you can widen your window of cutting. So ProBlend is an excellent option for early heading cutting all the way to milk stage. So that's an excellent choice. Again, you get the value of both of those products, but it helps you manage your cutting window and reduce some risk there in case of weather events. So again, superior standability and disease resistance on these products, same as you do on the other hybrids for grain. So excellent forage and grazing thing. Some of the information, again, I will leave you with my information. So if there's any questions right now, I wanted to keep my time in check. So I want to thank you for paying attention. Any questions, you can email me. Otherwise, also Matt will send me any questions. So contact me. There's my contact number. So open to anybody. Give me a call. Any questions? I would take some now.
Yeah, thanks, Paul, for giving that update. Yeah, again, in the interest of time, we're going to keep, I think, old questions. And Paul, if you're all right, looks like Klaus has been kind of fielding some, and Becca's answered some as well. But if you're comfortable,
Yep.
just contact info in the chat. We'll kind of follow up the conversation there. So as of right now, we're going to take a couple-minute break before we transition over to our next slate of speakers, which is Beth Stebbins from Grain Millers and Lydia English from